Coming up tonight, the Prime Minister says no child will be kept out of the classroom.
More from that developing story that you will see only on ZNS News.
30 new police officers set to hit the streets. We'll tell you all about it coming up in the Bahamas tonight.
And a champion is crowned. The Bahamas tonight. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
The Prime Minister tonight sets the record straight on immigration and schools. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
And I'm Clint Watson. It's great to have you with us. Top in the news tonight, Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie says despite the enhanced immigration policy that will require immigrant children to have permits, he says no one will be denied an education.
No government that is a progressive Liberal Party government would meet a family who cannot afford to meet the 100, whatever the requirement is, and because you cannot meet it, the child cannot go to school. That won't happen in the Bahamas. We're not going to deny children a place in our educational establishment.
Mr. Christie maintains that he believes his government is doing the right thing. The Prime Minister says while he appreciates that change will cause a reaction, he also holds firm to the point that the government must make tough decisions in the best interest of its people.
What our detractors must know, on a weekly basis, we are giving consideration to citizenship applications. And just a few days ago, and we are granting citizenship on a continuing basis to people who are subjected to the same standards that we are indicating there. That we're saying we have to account for people in the Bahamas. We have to account for those who live in the Bahamas, period, full stop. Whether the Jamaicans, whether the Haitian, whether the Irish people, we have to account. We have to account for those who have come here through irregular circumstances, right, who are therefore not registered in our country.
The Wade Rohl murder and armed robbery trial winding down in Supreme Court. Both sides are expected to give closing submissions Monday in a final pitch to the jurors. Presiding Justice Vera Watkins will then sum up the case and direct jurors on the law before handing the case over to them. Yesterday, Rohl, who is the last remaining defendant in the case, took to the stand in his own defense. His two accused, Leonardo Wright and David Rohl, were acquitted by the jury after the judge upheld no case submissions presented on their behalf. Rohl is accused of killing Nelson Samuel Goodman 6 years ago outside Bertho's Go-Go Ribs. Police need your help in solving the country's latest murder that occurred last night. According to reports, shortly after 10 p.m., police were on patrol when they heard the sounds of gunshots in the Farrington Road area. The officers on checking Dudley Lane off Farrington Road found a parked green Buick with the body of a man with gunshot wounds to the head. Police have launched a very intense investigation into this incident and are appealing to members of the public to come forward with any information they may have.
Well, ZNS, the only station on the scene in the Family Island as a plane makes an emergency landing. Police officers were busy on Mayaguana after an airplane came down and one of the wheels seemed to collapse. Cleopatra Murphy had just landed when the story unfolded.
A twin-engine Aztec plane was forced to make an emergency landing on Mayaguana around 5:40 Thursday evening after what appears to have been landing gear failure. ZNS News was the only media on the scene as officers conducted investigations. The distressed flight landed just moments before another flight transporting members of the Constitutional Commission. Pilot Greer Martin witnessed the landing from the air.
The pilot seemed as if he had gear trouble. And when he came into the land, he tried to extend the gear, but it didn't extend properly. And of course, he landed the aircraft and veered off to the side.
2 people were on board the private flight, the pilot and co-pilot. Both were uninjured, but the plane received minor damages. Assistant Superintendent of Police Tessa Bowe says they received word that an aircraft scheduled to land was experiencing difficulty and notified control room and aircraft support services. The flight was en route to Mayaguana from Nassau at the time. Bo says the plane circled the airport several times, about half an hour before it landed. The runway was closed for a while following the incident. Martin says the pilot exercised great skill during the ordeal, as the incident could have ended differently.
The way that it was positioned, it showed that the pilot executed excellent flying skills and avoided worse mishaps.
Investigations into the incident will continue to determine what went wrong. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
The action taken by teachers at Yellow Elder Primary School yesterday not sitting well with education officials. The teachers walked out of their classrooms, reportedly refusing to teach over concerns of health and safety after one confirmed case of scabies at that school. Education officials are questioning the hysteria and are calling the act by teachers not only unwarranted but illegal. Our Carla Palmer tells us teachers are reportedly back in the classroom at that school today.
With one confirmed case of scabies at Yellow Elder Primary School on Monday, parents up to yesterday were seen removing their children from the premises. Director of Education Lionel Sands says, however, that the infected child has remained away from the school since being diagnosed.
Now, as a consequence of the student being in the classroom, all other students were tested to determine whether they indeed had contracted the scabies disease. There were no confirmed cases of scabies on those students who were tested.
Nevertheless, teachers at Yellow Elder say they are concerned for their health and safety, and as of Thursday remained away from the classrooms.
But that does not impede the educational process in the school. We don't stop because a child or even several children are ill, because the process must go on. And the nature of the scabies disease, I'm told by the health professionals, is such that it does not have an impact on students unless there is intimate contact with a student who has that particular illness. And so, for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out why is there such a hysteria or scare in the school system. Because when a child has the influenza, which is very, very contagious, there's no hysteria. The child is taken out and remains home until such time as that illness disappears, and the same is true with scabies or any other disease.
Sands is hoping this Friday that teachers are back in their classrooms and teaching.
My position is the teacher should not have been out, because there was no such and there's no reason for them to be out of the classroom, because the child who was infected was not in the classroom and the school was cleaned. And so I'm not aware that they're out today, but if they're out of their classroom, they will be duly dealt with. And I've already instructed the principal to say to me, or give me the names of those teachers who refuse to work. I'm being advised by the health professionals that there's no need for any industrial sanitation of the school or sanitizing of the school, because the work that the custodial staff does daily at the school is sufficient enough. Residues there does not affect or impact other students. The impact would come actually from student touching student intimately or sleeping with other student in a bed, for example.
So far this year, confirmed cases of scabies have been recorded in New Providence at D.W. Davis, T.A. Thompson, and T.G. Glover, and one confirmed case on Andros. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.